I have to go again. All right. So we're continuing the discussion from last week. Oh, can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Can you just confirm that you are there and I'm not just talking to the wind again? All right. Thank you very much. God bless you, Queen Ronnie, Adiyinka, Princess Edith, my brother Michael. God bless you, all you that are watching the YouTube and the Facebook replay. However, you're getting in touch, thank you very much. And Queen, yes, Queen, peace. God bless you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Continuing the conversation from last week that we spoke about suicide amongst men. A very, very huge topic that our brothers, our men are giving up, essentially. That's why men are giving up on their anointing, giving up on their calling, giving up on their appointments as God. And we just started the conversation last week and we're able to go through quite a few facts about men in this country, men in the United States, men in Africa, men all over the world, just getting fed up with their lives and then just saying, okay, I've had enough. I've had enough and I'm checking out. I think they were back in Nigeria. There used to be this advert, and they used to say, Andrew, don't check out. The only thing is, Andrew was checking out of the country, wasn't checking out of the world. Mm. But anyway, we're talking about guys that are looking at their lives and saying, enough is enough. I've had enough. I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And I do remember, we did go we touched on a few things. We touched on the fact that 40% of men that they never speak about what's going on with them. We highlighted the fact that almost 5,000 males, over 5,000 males in the UK took their lives. Over 5,000 in the UK took their lives in 2022, which we established was an increase on the numbers of 2021, where we know that COVID had its play, but more people the year after took their lives. And we can say there's a whole lot of circumstances that are going on. And we know there are a whole lot of circumstances. But one of the things that we then got into last week was the fact that as guys, we don't talk. And I remember Queen Ronnie she went for us. She said she wants to understand what it is about us. Why don't we talk and all these kinds of things, and I guess a simple response would be that we do talk. I think I went through this last week, that we do talk. It's just that we don't talk about the things that are most important when those things are going on for us, that we don't converse about the pain things that are going on for us. So that's why this conversation came up. Men, brothers, sons, let us talk. That's what this is about. I've got some brothers on here. Daniel, you're welcome, my brother. God bless you real good. I want you to come up as well because I would like, to have a proper discussion. I don't want this to just revolve around me as per why we men do not talk. We got to have, find ways, because this not talking is part of the reasons why we are feeling and believing that we don't matter, that our lives don't matter. Forget the cliche, forget the cliche, all lives matter, black lives, all that. Forget all that, forget all that. Because those are just cliches. They're easy to just put out there and use as a crutch to hold on to. But the reality is, men like you and I, that God has appointed, this is my take, God has appointed us. brother, son, dad, uncle, cousin, nephew. He's appointed us, and he has sent us into this world equipped with every single thing that we need to be the best version of what he has created. And yes, the fact that the times are changing, the world is evolving, things are totally different to how they were when I was growing up. When Michael and myself were growing up, maybe there's going to be people that are listening on to this who are a bit older, a little bit older than myself. But when we were growing up, things were a whole lot different in terms of how men interacted, in terms of how we were brought up as boys, in terms of how our fathers spoke to us or didn't speak to us. And we established with the question that was asked last week in terms of relationships with fathers, that most of us, well, we established it, that most of us, in effect, will bring our sons up, our daughters up, in the way that we were brought up ourselves, short of God taking us through a journey where we learn to do things a little bit different from how we were brought up. Now, having established all this and understanding that we are essentially products of our own upbringing, I think it's very important for us to understand and recognize that some of the problems that we inherited from times past that we're now carrying around with us are being detrimental to our well-being as men. So the way that our parents did things essentially was good for them. It works for them because it was a different society to what it is right now. The patriarchal society, depending on where you grew up in, the father had overall say, and that was how it ran, and it ran down like that. Nobody questioned. But where we are right now, we can see that things have changed. That patriarchal society where me finishes here. What I say is gospel. We grew up in a society where when adults were talking, y'all know this, I don't know. When adults are talking, what do children do? Exactly. You feel me? When the adults are talking all over the place, what do children do? They keep quiet. Well, that was my experience. I don't know about you. I don't know. Maybe yours wasn't like that, but that was my experience. You couldn't get involved, you know? You couldn't get involved. You couldn't have that conversation. Absolutely, ma'am. I see you. I see you, man. You couldn't. It wasn't a thing that you were allowed to do, to get involved in adults are talking. Who is talking that we'll say who is talking that the dog is shaking his ears? Yeah, you translate that to Yoruba, you'll understand. It's sweeter in Yoruba than it is in English. But you couldn't hang around. Ultimately, you just had to go with whatever was going on in the moment. You couldn't interact with your dads. And I'm saying this right now. I'm saying this right now, right? Michael knows my dad. He knows my dad, or should I say, he knew my dad. He knew my dad was a lively guy. He was a jovial guy. He was an easy to go guy. But the fact of the matter is, and I said this, and I keep on saying this, I guess this is what's brought me to where I am right now, is that I didn't get to play with my dad. I didn't have that real intimate conversations with my dad. And I guess there was a yearning in me to have that. There was a yearning. You're my dad. I want to hang on you. I remember one time only. I mean, I want to hear yours as well, Adeyinka, and I'm gonna open the mic after I give this example of where you had a bit of fun. And I'm gonna just give you about a minute each, Adeyinka and Michael and Daniel, to tell me what you the one memory of play that you had with your dad. The one time that I remember playing with my dad, and if you could regard that as play, and even as I'm saying it right now, I can remember exactly where it was, where I was standing with him, and I had my hands around his neck, and I was holding on to him, and he just tickled me there. And that was as much as I remember of having fun with my dad. That was not in a, that was as much as it got. Okay, over to you guys. This is open season right now. Adeyinka, Daniel, Michael, in 1 minute, give me one time that you remember where you played, or a situation where your dad played with you. Over to you guys. Talk to me. Or anybody else there? Come on now.
Good evening, all.
Good evening, brother.
Yes, I could remember the first time that I had very close interaction with my dad playing together was on an open field where we were throwing shot put.
Wow.
And that was what I could remember.
Wow. Thank you, sir. So throwing a shot put, that's an interesting one. That's really good.
Really, I had deeper, closer relationship with your dad.
Wow. With my dad.
So yeah,
Okay.
you know, because he knew my faith name, and he will
Mm.
always want to
Mm.
jab at me.
Yeah.
So we have to go into deeper talks.
Yeah.
We will laugh, we all smile. And that was good. I think I had that portion on your behalf, sir.
I like that. Thank you very much. Good share, bro. Good share. Nice one. Nice one. Okay. Okay. Come on now. Adeyinka, Daniel, come on, talk to me. Thanks for sharing that. You got it all. I didn't get it, huh? Okay. Daniel, you're going to talk to us, brother? Are you there, sir? Or Adeyinka, either of you two. Come on, talk to me.
Good evening, uncles.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. I wouldn't say there is a time like play, like maybe play football, we don't do that. But I can say for sure that I have a very close relationship with my dad than my mom when it comes to interacting with him. I could remember there are times that probably he's working, maybe he's doing a carpentry work, he's fixing something in the house. We stay together, I learn from him, we gist, we talk. And growing up, I see that I sit more with him to discuss things.
Right.
I sit more with him to discuss, we talk, and while talking, we laugh, we make merry, but not the play, we play football, probably we go out. I'm not that outside person, but indoors, we sit, we talk. And even right now, anytime I go to Fidelity, I don't have friends in Fidelity. My only friends are my parents. So we sit down, we talk, laugh. That's sports. So
Yeah.
that's my take, sir.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Okay. Yes, Reverend Peace. I mean, you're absolutely right. Showing the emotions to people outside rather than that's a good thing. Yeah, showing the emotions to the outsider rather than to their own, because of the perceived notion that you know I love you. Well, tell me. Well, show me. Thank you, Daniel. I see your message. I see your message. Yeah, when they are younger and how cheap and affordable things are. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Yes, thank you for joining. Thank you for that. Thank you for that contribution. You're absolutely right. Now, because again, we're talking about showing emotion, showing our emotions. Our Father is showing emotion to us, showing us being vulnerable. Being vulnerable was an issue because they didn't know how to show being vulnerable. But I just want us to bear in mind that to show your vulnerability, especially where we are right now, because we can look at what our parents did, and I'll keep on saying this for as long as we continue to have these conversations. I'll keep on saying this. They did what they knew to do with what they had in that time, with their limited knowledge and experience. That's what they did. Okay, that's how they knew to do, because that's how they were taught. Okay, now if we bear in mind where we are right now in 2024, which is for some of us, when we were growing up, we're going back a few decades right now. Is that right, Mike? We're going back a few decades right now when we were talking about all this, but things were different. Things were a whole lot different. And for us, with everything that's going on around us right now, considering all this mental health issues, because back in those days, mental health, I remember back in Nigeria, they'd just say you're mad. It's end of story. It's one paintbrush. You're mad. And if you're from the Yoruba states, they'll say they'll send you to Aru. That's it. End of story. Send you to our Aroni, which meant you're a mental case. And there's nothing for you. There's no way for you. You're a done deal. If you showed emotion, if you showed weakness, if you showed that you're not happy, what? If you showed that oh gosh. See, I went to school, just to give you a bit of a background on me. I went to school. I was brought up in this country. I went to school in Nigeria. I left this country when I was 12 years old. You're going to hear me say this a lot, so get used to it. I left this country when I was 12 years old, went to start secondary school in Nigeria. I left here from year 7, and I went to Nigeria and started year 8 out there. Okay, so I'd already done my year 7, which is first year of secondary school, started year 8 out in Nigeria. That's where I met with my beautiful, wonderful cousin Michael, and we've been together ever since and still are. But that experience of leaving here, I'm based in the UK right now, and going to Nigeria into an environment that I was not familiar with, the things that created in me, the wonder that it created, not good wonder, by the way. No, it wasn't pleasant, because I went to a boarding school. That's where I met my cousin for the first time. I went to a boarding school. I didn't have the luxury of uh, being at home with my siblings and my parents. I went to a boarding school where I knew nothing. I knew nothing. Okay, I had a slight understanding of the language, but I did not understand the culture. And there was really nobody to teach me that, because in those days, there was a thing called seniority, that you did what the person in the year above you did. I told you, you did what they told you. I quickly learned that. I learned it the hard way, because I didn't understand that concept. Just because you're a year above me, I got to do whatever you say I should do. So if he says jump, I got to jump. Literally. Ain't that right, Mike? If he said jump, Queen Ronnie, and maybe you understand this. If he said jump, you had to jump. If he said crawl, or she said crawl, you had to crawl.
That was very right.
Uh-huh. You know, and we knew this to be true. That was our way of life. And I'm coming from the UK and thinking, what? Crawl? Who are you? Who are you to tell me to crawl? I'm not crawl. What? So I was stubborn. Now, I was stubborn to the point that I got beat up. I got beat up so much by seniors, by prefects, by you name it, until I learnt my lesson. And when I went home and could, conveyed these kind of things to my father, to my mother, they said, yeah, you'll learn. I will learn. I didn't get any there was no empathy there. There was no sympathy there. There was nothing there. There was nothing. It's because you're stubborn. It was my fault. Not understanding the language, not understanding the culture. It was my fault. Go and learn. You won't die. That's what I was told. That's what I was taught. Horrible situations. Getting into fights with seniors, getting into all sorts with all kinds of people. I'm talking about pain. And then, of course, there's times, I don't know if Michael was in school when this happened, there was times that my father, I'm talking about relationships with fathers right now, and the impact that those relationships have on our children, to the point sometimes where we're not able to talk about our pain, where we're not able to express our pain, and therefore we go to extremes to get involved in all sorts. Because last week we were talking about, the inability to talk, and therefore going into extreme measures where people are going to commit suicide. That's where all this is coming from. Okay, by the grace of God, I didn't have any desire to commit suicide, but the essence of this is to get us to be talking about that pain. Because, go home, have a chat with, no, there was nobody to listen to me. Nobody cared. Nobody cared of the situations that I had to face when I was in secondary school. Nobody was there to give me any, help me understand, why is this so? Why is this happening? Why do they do things these ways? I came out of that situation. Okay, I guess I came out fairly okay, but the the historical pain that it created in my life, and therefore it made me firm up. It made me strong. It made me just more. It made me angry. Made me hateful. Except for the grace of God, it made me. It turned me into something that I feel, because I've always been a fun-loving person, but I think that experience turned me into a very, very foul-mouthed, nasty little man, because I was short as. So I was what they'd call those days iriki, which essentially was a derogative term for somebody who came from abroad. Okay, it was a derogative term, so that even my mates used to call me that. And growing up with that, not understanding the culture, and then, of course, my grades went doom. I was doing so well here, got there, grades went down. Came back to this country, started my life, got on with things, had children, got married, had children. And then, as life has unfolded for me, I've realized that there's so much pent up pain, frustration, anxiety. Whew. You want to talk about anxiety? The places that I realize that I get the anxiety, where I'm just so off myself that I start sweating. I sweat in a way that is unbelievable. And I didn't get it. I didn't know that it was because of anxiety. It's a strange thing. When I realized what it was, I had to go and research it. So what am I saying? When these mental health problems occur, stress, anxiety, confusion, anger, all these things come up for us as men, we need to go and find places that we're going to talk. Some of the signs I wanted to highlight this week is just some of the signs that you and I need to pay attention to around our men. You lovely ladies that you're listening right now, if you're listening to this later on, to watch out for some of the signs amongst your sons, amongst your husbands, amongst your cousins, because the attack on the men is profound. We get the men out of the society, you don't have a society. So if the devil and his cohorts can make us and turn us into things that we're not that God hasn't designed us to be, to not fulfill destiny, then he wins. But we have to make a choice. We have to make a conscious decision to say no. No, 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 no. Not going down that road. So just want to identify some of the signs, the warning indications that we should pay attention to. We touched on some of them last week, but I just want to reiterate a few of them. So you may have your partner watching their moods. It's important. Watch their moods. Watch how they're behaving. Yeah, long-lasting moods. Maybe they stop being happy, they stop being chappy, or they go the other way. They're showing signs of long-lasting sadness. Their mood swings that they weren't doing before. They're showing signs of just withdrawing unnecessarily that you didn't notice. You didn't notice that. You just say, okay, what's going on here? If you see that happening, pay attention. Yeah, sudden calmness. So he's always like me. You imagine me, right? Coming in the way that I interact with every one of you who know me, and then you see me in a week's time, and I'm like, y'all better call. Y'all better pray. If you see Stephen going down that route, you know to get in touch with somebody. To phone each other on here. To call on the one who made Stevens. Now, that's not the Stephen we know. That's not the Michael we know. That's not the Ronnie we know. That's not the Daniel. That's not the Edith. That's not even the people that you know. That's not the Peace George that we know. No, 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 no. So if you see sudden calmness that you're not used to seeing, you can never tell that maybe there's something, a depressing situation going on. A person becoming suddenly calm. Take a note. Could be a period of depression. Need to pay attention. Withdrawing from others. Again, someone like me, just back off. Don't come near me. In a crowd, but don't talk to me. So we're withdrawing from people. They're always choosing to be alone when they're amongst people, which is another sign that we need to pay attention to. They lose interest in pleasurable things. So you're someone you're lively and out there, just losing interest. They withdraw from associations and with people. Changes, changes in their personality. So you see something that you're familiar with, but something has changed, and you can see that. You recognize that changes in their appearance. God have mercy. And when I thought about this changes in appearance, I remember a few years ago that I went to see my brother after I can't remember when exactly it was, but I went to see him, and I can't remember what the conversation was about, but yeah, I do remember. But I went to see him, and he saw me, and he looked at me, and he asked me the question. He said, "Are you okay? Are you actually okay?" It's only now that I think about it. Man, I wasn't okay, but I didn't say anything. And I could have said something because he is my brother. He is my actual blood brother, Alex. But I didn't. And he looked at me. So when you look at someone and you say, the way this person looks, probably the way they do their hair or don't do it, the way they wear their clothes or don't wear it, and maybe their sleep patterns with partners, just something about their sleep pattern is off. These are signs that we need to pay attention to. Person's behavioral changes. They become irritable, moving unusually slow or more fast. They're less concerned with things around about their appearance. My daughter my daughter picked this one up when we were having a conversation a few weeks ago. My daughter picked on this one. I thought, She said to me, "When you're anxious, you give off a body odor." I'm like, whoa, really? I didn't know that. He said, "Your body odor is different when you're anxious." I'm like, wow. So I had to pay attention to that. Pay attention to it. And when people say these things to you, brothers, when they say these things to you, don't get on the defensive. Let's not get on the defenses. Let's take a look. Let's take a proper look at ourselves and ask the person that's noticed this. Let's get off the high horse and ask the person that's noticed this, what do you see? What do you see? And if you're the person that sees it, begin to ask the person the questions. Begin to, ask them the questions. If they're showing dangerous signs, begin to ask the questions. Are you okay? How can I help you? Ask the questions. If they're showing signs of harmful behavior, like they might be going out and, maybe just banging their hands all the time where they weren't banging their hands. Maybe they're picking up sharp objects that you didn't know. And for crying out loud, we're talking about mental health issues here. If they show you these signs and they don't want to have the conversation, then by all means, ask them to speak to somebody else, because they might not want to. We might not want to talk to our wives, or even though we should in the first place. But the first person you can take this whole thing to, obviously, is God. Okay? Take it to the Lord. Take the situation to the Lord. If you notice things are out of sync, ask, 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 and keep on asking. If they're making preparations, like they're making preparations and going over and over and over things again, and again, and they're not normal signs that you're used to seeing, you know. What I know that this is something that we should do, putting their house in order. Yeah, like they're getting ready to go somewhere. If you see your dad, your uncle, your brother doing that, and there's no real reason for it, pay attention. Begin to ask questions. If the person speaks about death, that's a clear indication that something is wrong. Maybe the person is depressed. Maybe the person is suffering from anxiety. If anybody around you talks about death, alarm bells. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to that. And especially if they mention the word suicide, pay attention to that, brothers and sisters. But we need to have the conversation. So what are some of the preventative measures? When our brothers, when we come together, I cannot overemphasize this. When we come to this threshold of pain and frustration, and you see this, and you hear, and you sense, if you're the wife and you speak to your partner, or you speak to your baby father, you speak to your dad, and you don't get the response that you want, speak to somebody else about it. Okay, speak to somebody else about it. And if you're feeling, if you're the man, if you are the man, like I am right now, like the part of the lessons that I've learned right now are the fact that we've got to find an avenue to let this out when we're stressed, because stress comes in different shapes, manners, and forms, and it's part of the journey of life that we're going to encounter all kinds of different things from the moment we're born, even before that. There's going to be stresses coming left, right, front, and center. And we have to find ways of managing those stressful situations. These are the things we're talking about, so that these mental health issues don't overwhelm us. They're going to be there, but they don't have to overwhelm us. There's always a way. Most importantly, if you're a believer in Christ, you can take that to the throne. One. And if you don't know how to take it to the throne, you can take it to, you can speak to a brother or sister. Our sisters, I said this last week, our sisters form the groups. They form the groups and they talk. They talk with each other about their pain situations. They talk with each other. We men, I'm saying this unequivocally tonight, for this message to begin to go out there, that we men need to form groups, small groups, large groups where we're having conversations with each other about things that are going on here in our hearts and in our minds and that are then therefore affecting us. We've got to talk. All right. And when we are stressed, some of the things that we can do is what I'm also highlighting right here. So when we're stressed, what are the some? Yeah, and if you're with a person that's stressed and you notice that it seems like they're going down the wrong road, please seek help. Seek help for them. If you don't know how to do it, call the services and get them help. Please don't look at it and keep it quiet, because you know what they say: if you keep it quiet, it stays quiet with you, and that doesn't help, and that's what pushes guys to the kilter. I mean, pushes guys to the brink, and they feel, you know what, nobody cares about me anyway. Nobody cares. But you know what, brother, I care. I don't know you, but I care. I may never interact with you, but I care, because you're here right now and you matter to God. You carry destiny. You carry so much that God has given to you that you need to deposit on this world. That's why you're still here. So I encourage you, if you're in a space where you are feeling overwhelmed, come and talk to me. Talk to me. I got ear for you, brother. Find a brother to speak to. Find someone to speak to. All right. The services are out there. The Samaritans in this country, they're out there that you can speak to, that you can express yourself to. There are organizations out here that deal with all these things. Priory, there's another organization in your country, wherever you're at, where you're stateside, Canada, I don't know where you're at, wherever you're listening to this from, Nigeria, you can find a place where you can have a conversation with somebody. Please find someone to have a conversation with. I'd also say another way to help with this is to encourage your person to talk. We've looked at that. We've highlighted that a number of times. When they do, not to minimalize what they're telling you. Yeah? Don't minimalize it. When they tell you, when you pick up and they start talking, and this, I think this generally goes for everybody. If anybody starts talking to you, to listen to what they're saying. You don't have to give a solution. You really don't have to give a solution. Just to listen. Just to listen, to let them express themselves. Now, when they've expressed themselves, is there anything from the expression that you want to verify? Then we will talk a little bit more. We can train people. We have qualified people who can train you how to get people to talk. We can do that. If you need further help with that, please get in touch. Help them to talk. Give them lifeline numbers if you need to. Reassure them. If you sense something is wrong, reassure them. You know what, uncle, I got you. I got you. I care about you. And say it like you mean it. Let them feel that you care about them. If you see something that's out of, yeah, tell me about it. You know, but I got to say this to you as well. I got to say this to us as men, because we have been beaten down and beaten down and told this, told that, told the other. Trust for ladies as well has gone out of the window. And when trust goes out of the window, it's very, very hard for a man to get up and start talking. Am I right, brothers? Am I right? I didn't hear you. Give me a thumbs up if I'm right. Trust is what allows us to have that interaction with everybody, really. But you ladies do it a little bit more easier than we do. You know, we don't trust too tough. And that's why I am part of an organization called Tribe. In that tribe, it's 3,000 strong men's group. Well, the overall body is called Pursuit of Manliness. Okay, the overall body is the Pursuit of Manliness. But then within the Pursuit of Manliness, We have what we call tribes. This is an umbrella, which is a smaller part. And then under that, we have another one where we have international tribe, which I'm also part of. Adeyinka knows about this. And each segment, as it goes smaller, you have closer conversations. And why did I join this? Because I'm looking for a place where I can express myself as men. Lovely ladies, we love you and we do love you. Your husband loves you. Peace, George. Your husband loves you, Ronnie. Edith, he's coming. I love my wife, Michael. You know, I know your wife loves you. But you see, there are certain things that we as men understand about each other. And that's why we need to form these groups where we have proper conversations. And that's where form a tribe, get a tribe, start a tribe if necessary within your community, within your locality, start a tribe. I'm also part of an organization in my local church here, which is called, we have the men's group, like all of us have men's group in our churches. Yes. I remember where I was, one of my former churches, they didn't have one. I started out off from scratch. It's still there. But with men's groups. And then within the men's groups, we have the smaller group, which is called chat. And what does chat stand for? C stands for challenge. H stands for honesty. A stands for acceptance. And T for transformation. Chat. And I'm such an advocate for this right now. It's a much smaller group out of the men's church. The men all meet for a big meal. Then this one we meet every other week, and we go deep. We go deep and talk about what's going on for us, what's going on in here in relation to our brothers. If we can formulate these kind of things, we can have deeper conversations and therefore be able to tell it, look, this is what's going on for me. This is so you can say it there, so that you can, other brothers can hold you accountable and to hold you. So if something goes wrong, if you are feeling off, if you are feeling down, if you are feeling emotionally sapped, you can go to your group. You can go to your chat group. You can go to your den brothers. You can go to your cave brothers. You can go to your tribe brothers and say, hey, 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 take me. Oh. Listen, I need help. We need help. Shout out, I need help. I know the number of guys in these groups that I'm talking with right now that are just saying, hey, Stephen, yeah, listen. You know, these are the things we need to be looking at. And brothers and sisters, to say that we can't show emotion is a lie from the pits of hell. We all know the examples in the Bible. Do you think that David was in a good position when he wrote all those Psalms? When he was talking about all the pain things that were going on for him. Why so downcast, oh my soul? Imagine what was going on. At the space we heard of the place where they went away and they went to war, and before they came back, all their children, everything had been taken away. Oh, you think, oh, don't worry, it's all good. What do you think their state of mind was then? They went through it. Job sitting there with his supposed friends and his wife, everything. The guy was wiped out. The guy was literally wiped out. And then sitting there with his supposed friends. And all they were doing is negatrons in his ear space. Do you think that one wasn't depressed, oppressed, suppressed? You know? The prophet, after he killed all those 400 prophets of Baal, he killed all of them. Fire from heaven. If God be God, let him answer by, I heard you. Okay? And he just killed all those prophets. And then this scraggy old woman comes along and says, what you've done to my prophets, by this time tomorrow, I'm gonna rip you apart. What did he do? Oh my God. Guy got depressed, ran. He hightailed it out of town. Yes, these are all emotive states. They're all emotive states. But one thing, the verse in the Bible where it says David did what? What did David do? Talk to me.
He encouraged himself in the Lord.
First and foremost, yes, sir. He encouraged himself in the Lord. In the Lord. That's where you go first. No, first and foremost, if you're a child of God, that's where you go first. Go to the Lord. Yeah? Okay. All right. Anybody wanna
Yeah, he first wept.
Come on now, talk to me.
Wept until none of them had any strength in them again. He encouraged himself in the Lord.
See? He first of all wept. Good point. All right. So you think about that. He wept, they wept and wept and wept and wept and wept. I can imagine, yeah, Mogbe, hey, Kin Modongo, yeah. Yeah, Africa. He's gonna go, oh my gosh, what have I done? What have I done? Who have I offended? Oh my God. And you go through all that. Those are that's emotions there. Blaming yourself, blaming each other, blaming God and everything. And then, oh my goodness gracious me, what am I going to do? It'll be better if I just die right now. Oh my, you become emotionally flooded. The emotions go right up here and you're like, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. And it's calm down. So when you're in that emotive state, one of the easiest things you can do when you're getting flooded like that, move yourself away from the situation, brother. Move yourself away from the situation. Count to 10. Backwards, forwards. Breathe. Do something, anything to reduce that stress in the moment. And then, as it said there, they went to the Lord to see what they could do, to find out what solutions. There are solutions out there. And we need to be knowing, we need to understand that people are available to you. People are standing with and for you. And more importantly, God is there for you. He is the antidote to all the things that may be going on for you at any point in time. He is the antidote. He is the solution. He has an answer. He has a response. I believe that in my heart. I absolutely believe that in my heart, that he has a solution. But if just in case you can't at the moment, you're feeling too sapped to do it on your own, reach out to a brother that you can express yourself to. Okay? And knowing that God is available. God is available and he's watching over his word to perfect it concerning you. Proverbs 16:9, it says, in the heart of man, there is a plan. They have a course that they want to go, but the Lord establishes their steps. Okay, you may have a mindset of how you're going to do, but go to the Lord because he's got a plan. Trust him in the moment. He has a plan. Trust him in that season. He has a plan. Your steps are your steps. They may be your steps, but they may not be coinciding with his in that moment. And that may cause us stress because we don't understand what's going on for us in the moment. Yeah? So I do encourage us. Trust him. Okay, my brothers and sisters, I think I've spoken a lot tonight. Is there anybody who has anything to say, add? Because I want to wrap this up in the next couple of minutes so that we can close this on the live stream in the next minute. Okay, anybody got anything they want to say, anything they want to add, anything they want to, any questions? Throw some light on the conversation that stress is a real thing, anxiety is a real thing, depression is a real thing, but there's a solution to all things. Talk to me. I can wait. Anybody got anything they want to say? Okay. I think we can say a good thank you and appreciation to all you that are watching the live stream. Appreciate you. I thank you. I bless you. I honor God in you. And I pray in the name of Jesus that your journey of life will be fruitful beyond your heart's desires in the name of Jesus. Thank you so much for being part of this program, for being part of this journey, for bringing your value and adding your voice. Please do go and watch the feedback on YouTube. It's all available on there. And I look forward to interacting with you at some point in time, very, very soon in the nearest future. We're going to continue the conversation on a different issue and topic. Maybe next week I'll be looking at the R of the Father in. God bless you. Good night. Okay.